The movie opens at a manor where an exorcist tries to trap a ghost haunting the large Indian family. He eventually succeeds in trapping it in one of the rooms, so the family locks up and moves out of the manor. In the next scene, it's 18 years later. We're introduced to Ruhaan, a carefree guy who takes a sudden interest in Reet after returning her missing luggage. She also dropped her phone by accident, and when Ruhaan tried to return it, she threw the phone away thinking he was asking for her number. She didn't like him at all. Well, apparently they're traveling together on a bus. Ruhaan notices she's worried about reaching her family, so he gives her his phone to make a call. Her conversation reveals that her family has arranged for her to be married to a young man she barely knows, and though willing to fulfill her family's wishes, she doesn't want to get married. The bus stops for a few minutes to refuel, and as a means to make her feel better, Ruhaan manages to convince Reet to attend a music festival and have one last moment of fun before she's married off. After considering her options, she accepts and goes with him. By nightfall, they head back to the bus stop to catch the next bus, only to discover that the bus they were on earlier had an accident, and none of the passengers survived. Reet's family heard the news and thought she was dead because they couldn't reach her. She tried to call home using a payphone to tell them she's okay, but could only get a hold of her sister. Her sister could not hear her, nor did she know it was Reet on the phone. Luckily, she overheard her sister's conversation with her supposed groom. She realized they are both in love and wish to be married, but the family would rather have him marry Reet, since Reet has to marry first as the first daughter. Reet hangs up the phone and thinks for a while. Then she decides not to tell her family she's alive so her sister can get married. But knowing how her family would rather mourn her for months, she begs Ruhaan to follow her to her hometown and try to convince her family to let her sister get married. Ruhaan reluctantly agrees, so Reet takes Ruhaan to the abandoned manor, knowing her family would never come there. She was only a little child the last time she was there, while they were trapping a ghost. Ruhaan says the place looks spooky and asks that they leave, but Reet tells him not to be scared. She tells him of the ghost that was trapped in the manor, but says she doesn't believe it. Her family is scared for nothing, she says. While they go in and turn on the lights, soon a villager passes by the manor and sees the light on, so he runs to alert Reet's family of this. So they all come storming into the manor to see who's there. Reet hides as soon as she sees them, but Ruhaan is seen. Reet's father asks why he's there, and he replies that Reet brought him there, claiming he sees ghosts. He spins a story around everything Reet told him about her family and tells them it's Reet's dying wish that her family stays in the manor and mourn her. Ruhaan's story is believed and Reet is quite impressed. As the family all leave to go back and pack their things, Ruhaan tells Reet he still thinks it's a bad idea for them to stay at the manor, and he's even more frightened of her father who would kill him if they find out she's alive. She tells him not to worry, it's a very big manor with over 40 rooms and it would be hard for anyone to find her. The next day, while cleaning up the manor, Reet's uncle wanders all the way up to the floor where the ghost is trapped. He immediately runs away after noticing a shadow behind the door. The family begins the morning rites days after, but Ruhaan interrupts and says it's also Reet's wish that the wedding proceeds with her sister as the bride. After much hesitation from her father, they finally agree to have a marriage feast instead. At night, Ruhaan hears strange noises and wakes to find a bird watching him. As if possessed, he gets up and follows a man to the door where the ghost is trapped. While still hallucinating, he's tapped by Reet's aunt Angelica, who warns him never to go near the door again. The next day, the town priest, who doesn't believe Ruhaan sees spirits, tries to expose him. He sets him up with some villagers whose relative just died. They want him to talk with the spirit of the dead and get information on where she kept her gold. Ruhaan is scared to death when he's left alone in a room with a dead woman. Suddenly he hears strange noises and almost lost it until he noticed a toy the priest left under the woman's chair, which is the cause of the scary sound he heard. He throws the monkey away, and as luck may have it, the monkey hits an object which hits another and another until the chandelier falls, revealing all the gold. The villagers praise him and even make him an outfit befitting of a ghost whisperer. Ruhaan, or should I say Rubaba as the villagers call him, starts enjoying his newfound fame and somehow helps villagers settle disputes. The priest, on the other hand, loses customers by the day. He slashes his price down and is even forced to offer free services, still nobody comes. Meanwhile, Reet snoops around the house one day and is seen by her nephew. The boy runs away to inform the family she's alive, but Ruhaan says ghosts can show themselves to whomever they wish. Then he takes the boy away and threatens to lock him up with the ghost ghost if he reveals that Reet is alive again. The boy runs away in fear. Not long after, Ruhaan is frightened by a sound. He runs to Reet immediately, who reveals the noise he heard was from an ornament stuck on his cloth. He actually thought the ghost was following him. Ruhaan decides to leave and Reet tells him to go. Knowing she doesn't mean it, he tells them to make a deal, only to tell each other lies. So they start lying to each other, and one thing leads to another. He tells her he hates her and she says she hates him too, just before they kiss. One night, Ruhaan is drunk with Reet's uncle, who leads him to the room where the ghost is to have him ask her what she wants and why she wouldn't leave the family alone. He almost goes through with it when Reet's father and aunt stops them. Reet's aunt Angelica tells him the spirit behind the door is her twin sister Manjulika. Their father was a music maestro and they both danced with him. But Manjulika was never treated as special as her twin sister, causing her to be jealous. Her father never showed her love as much as he showed her sister, and pretty soon her jealousy turned into hatred, so she started practicing black magic. Her father tried to stop her, but she kept on practicing in secret. They grew up into beautiful ladies, and Manjulika took interest in a man, but the man had eyes for her sister only. He proposed marriage to her, and this made Manjulika very angry, so she planned to kill her sister. On the night of the ceremony, she snuck out of the house, but her father followed her. He was shocked to see she never left her old ways and scolded her when he saw she was trying to kill her sister. He even said he wished he had one daughter. Manjulika, hearing this, stabbed him and he died. Then she went to her sister's room to kill her, but Angelica and her husband tried to fight back. She almost strangled the man, but Angelica stabbed her from the back and she died. But somehow, Manjulika came back from the dead to haunt her sister, so the family called an exorcist, and that's how they managed to trap her. Ruhaan is even more frightened after hearing this. Later that night, Ruhaan and Reet sneak out for a walk and someone sees them, so he rushes to the priest, who comes to the manor with a mob to search for Reet. Reet, hearing this, is scared as her father gives them permission to search the entire house, believing they won't find anything. Ruhaan rushes to find Reet immediately. They avoid being seen for a while, then Reet decides to hide in Manjulika's room, knowing no one would ever come there. Ruhaan doesn't think it's a good idea but has no choice but to hide her in there. The priest couldn't find her and was embarrassed by Reet's father. Later that night, while everyone slept, Ruhaan goes to let her out, but she scares him acting possessed. Ruhaan tells her to stop playing and hurries out of the room. The next day, during the marriage rites, strange things starts happening around the house. The family believes it to be Reet, so they tell Ruhaan to make her calm down and not disrupt the celebration. Scared, Ruhaan begs the ghost to stop, and it stops. Not long after, they see a black figure walking on walls, still thinking it's Reet. The figure soon disappears. Ruhaan takes off to go find Reet. He finds her hiding under the bed, as she too is scared and now believes Manjulika is real. Ruhaan packs up to leave, but Reet persuades him to stay and help her trap Manjulika back in the room before her family knows she's been released, because they opened the door. Meanwhile, the priest, still trying to get everybody to come back to him, dresses his wife like Manjulika to use in scaring Ruhaan, so he'll be forced to tell the truth about Reet, unknowing to him that the real Manjulika has been released. Angelica notices strange movements in the house at night, so she visits Ruhaan that night asking for Reet. Apparently, she knows he's been lying and Reet is alive. She tells them Manjulika visited her the night they released her and plans to kill every member of the family before killing her. So Angelica, Ruhaan and Reet visit the exorcist the next day, who tells them he can only banish her in 3 days during a lunar eclipse. He promises to fortify the manor till then, but strange things keep happening around the house. At some point, Ruhaan warns Reet's uncle about Manjulika's ghost, which he believed to be Reet all along. Later that night, he goes missing. Ruhaan and Potlu, Reet's niece, go in search of him only to find him sleeping in Manjulika's room. He claims it's the safest place in the house. If Manjulika has been released, the last place she would be is the place she has been trapped for years. Actually, that's very smart. That same night, the exorcist and his priest are attacked by Manjulika in the desert and killed. Days later, Ruhaan is out to help some villagers when he hears voices. He follows the sound and discovers the priest and his wife dressed up as Manjulika. They are startled when they see him, and Ruhaan beats the priest up and scares away his wife, who runs into the real Manjulika and faints. Manjulika also meets the priest and his partner and beats them up. They run away in fear and bump into Ruhaan again. This time they warn him of Manjulika, but he thinks they're still trying to prank him, so he goes after the ghost and ends up trapped with her on the top of a building, where she attempts pushing him down. The priest and his wife visits the manor to inform everyone they'll be leaving the village soon, but refuses refuses to tell them of Manjalika. But while they're about leaving, a power cut scares them, so they decide to wait till dawn before leaving. Not long after, Ruhaan comes back in the dead of night acting weird. He sings a song only Manjalika and Angelica know. This wakes everyone in the house. Angelica asks him how he knows the song, but Ruhaan continues acting weird, saying Angelica is going to die tonight. He then announces he is Manjalika, scaring everybody. As Reet's uncle tries to run away, he sees Reet and instantly thinks Reet's ghost is there to save them. But Reet is so scared and she reveals she's not dead. Ruhaan moves closer and closer to Angelica and tries to hurt her, but Reet runs in to help her aunt, begging Ruhaan to fight the spirit. But Angelica, seeing he won't stop, grabs a knife and threatens to slit Reet's throat. The family is so shocked at her behavior. Ruhaan then asks why she called her Angelica, not Manjalika. Then we're taken back to the scene where Ruhaan was pushed by the ghost. She didn't kill him but warned him to take Reet and leave. She also thanked him for releasing her spirit. Ruhaan wondered why she didn't kill him, and then he realized she must be Angelica, the good twin. So he put up a little act to confirm his suspicion. He tells the family that the person they've been living with all these years is Manjalika, the evil twin, not Angelica. Apparently, Manjalika spelled her sister and switched places with her. The spell made Angelica act crazy, giving Manjalika the opportunity to kill her. Angelica's husband found out not long after, and she pushed him off a balcony, confining him to a wheelchair, unable to speak. Even the exorcist was part of her plan to trap her sister, which is why Angelica killed him. Angelica could not kill her sister after being released because her family would only still see her as Manjalika, the evil twin, never knowing the truth. So she left the manor instead, wandering the village. Manjalika finally admits she's the one, talking about how hard it was for her to hide her identity all these years. She even confessed she's responsible for every family member who died in the past years because they figured out who she was. She mocks her sister for suffering for years, asking how it feels to be the hated one. Seeing no remorse, Angelica torments her as much as she wants and then drags her up to the room where she was trapped in. She thanks Reet and Ruhaan for their help and says goodbye to her family. While the family vacates the manor, she takes her time tormenting her sister. The end. What are your thoughts on this movie? Please leave a comment. Also, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Tune in for more movie moments.